Is it coincidental that you guys didn't play, when you didn't play well, there was road games? And how do you look at this on Saturday?
I think a couple things happen. I think, when things are going well, there can be a tendency to lose focus on what created that momentum and that success. And I think for us, the competing part and playing hard and being physical, like that's our cornerstone, and that's when we're at our best. And I could say this, with 100, like when we went to Kansas and to Cincinnati, the other team played harder and competed harder than we did. So whether that's a byproduct of being on the road or being at home, to me, we try to build a style of play and a way of doing things that should carry over onto the road. And so whether it's timing, whether it's we need to do a better job of focusing, whether we needed to stay, more urgent and desperate, all that kind of goes on. And then, when things are going well, it's human nature for guys to start looking at, some of the external things instead of just let's focus on what we need to do. So I think what we've been fortunate to do, get back to the practice floor, just, really compete, play for each other. I've been really proud of our guys and happy with how they've embraced that.
What's the dynamic like when Jamarian and Milan are on the floor at the same time? And is that something you're kind of wanting to create a little bit more often, given what they both can give you offensively?
I think more than anything, we're looking at, how can guys bring, effort, production to the table when they get into the game. And I think Jamarian is certainly, proving as he moves forward with his career more, when he comes into the game, there's an energy, there's a gravitas to how he plays. You can tell his care, you can tell how important it is to him. And so I think, shots, points, plays come as a result of that energy and that mental focus. So I don't look at it as much with, who's out there with who. It's game to game, it's situation to situation. And it's really just more about, who's playing hard, who's producing, who's getting the job done in that moment, and then we'll go from there.
I wonder if there's any moments when you guys were recruiting Milan or even throughout his career here where you've just stopped and kind of been in awe of him in a shooting workout or even warm-ups or just any game where it's hit you like, man, he's really feeling it in this workout.
I'd say that the thing with him is what he's doing in the games is consistent with what we've seen in summer workouts and practices throughout his time here. So to some extent, it's not surprising, because even though the numbers are as great as they are, it's the consistency that we've seen over time. It's him being a problem solver now in the games and figuring out, okay, teams are going to be physical. How do I combat that? Okay, teams are going to, try to get on top and prevent me from getting the basketball. How do I combat that? How do I use my shot fake to create space? How do I create space without the ball? So to answer your question directly, no, because I feel like I've had tremendous confidence. We certainly identified him in the recruiting process right away as a guy that we had to have, that we thought had ability to make a huge impact and positively change our program. He's done that. And to me, my responsibility to him is to keep him in this moment and to continue to challenge him, to continue to stay on the hunt. And so I'm probably not as good at, reflecting while we're in it. That's something maybe when the season's over, you look back. But to me, when we're in it, and we just got to keep doing the job and getting better.
You mentioned his ability to kind of problem solve and still get up shots, whether it's a sidestep or different terms that you used there. How much better is he at those things now compared to when he was a freshman and he first got into your program?
Yeah, I think he does such a great job creating space, and I think it's a knowledge going into the game. Like, watch him play in high school, and you get used to playing against box and one, triangle two, face guarding, all these things, and then you find solutions for that. And he dealt with that for 3 years and won 3 state championships in doing so. And I think now it's the same thing, except the athletes are better, the length, the size, the physicality, all is greater. And he's very capable. I mean, he's put the work in on his body, his strength, his movement patterns are better, his ability to create space is better, attack closeouts, get downhill, find a way to get easy baskets. So, and his teammates really, really look for him. I mean, they're really trying to find him. So, I think it's a credit, certainly to his work. And I think that improvement, the one thing you learn about Milan is he's always on this like gradual progression. Like he just keeps taking steps forward, and he keeps improving, which is great to see.
I apologize if I've asked something like this before, but with the players shoot around and kind of work out leading up to the game, how much say does your coaching staff have in that, or is your approach more let everybody figure out what works best for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to the specific game day routine, there's guys that, they may want to get in the gym independently, whether it's home or road, and just get their shots up and do what they do. Then there's times where we do things as a team that, from whatever it is, about 60 minutes up until tip, where it's led by our coaches and the things that we do. But obviously, guys are encouraged to shoot shots that they're going to get in the game. So I think there's a part of it that's team oriented, and then a part of it that we want to allow each individual to do the things that they feel will be, best for them to be confident in their ability to make shots on a given day or night. So I think it's some of both.
What do you preach to your freshmen in regards to the freshman wall, or just the natural ups and downs that come with the season?
Yeah, to answer it directly, I don't believe in a freshman wall. I think if you build mental resiliency and competitive stamina, things like that don't creep in. You just have to keep working. I think, at times when you have freshmen who aren't as tough and as mentally tough and competitive as the ones that we have, I could see where that would happen. But I think with Killian, with Bateman, with Plata, I don't think there is such a thing. I think those guys are going to continue to play well. They work for it. They practice to compete for it. And so, we believe far more in, if you have the work habits and you impose your will, that you make things go your way. And I think with all three of those guys, we're continuing to see them do that.
Do you not believe in it or not accept it as an excuse?
Yeah, I don't believe in it, truthfully. I mean, if you say, does it happen with guys, you could say, well, yeah, if this guy didn't train this hard in high school, now the training is harder and longer, it's impacting him. But I don't think that is true for those guys. I've said many times, Bateman's habits are the best I've ever seen in anybody. And so I don't think there's anything he's doing now that's any different than what he was doing a year ago. And obviously you see with Killian the instant impact he's had, and I think Plata continues to get better. So I think there's such a thing as I haven't worked this hard, if that's the case. And so now the continued working hard over time challenges me or challenges a person. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think everything is mental. I think everything is controlled by your thought process and your habits. And I think, your mental side forms your habits, and then your habits form you. So I think if you do a great job mentally dialing into those habits and creating them, that they show up for you. And I think for those guys, they've all done a great job with that.
Would you say it's similar to how the freshmen have handled it to what Taman and Milan did when they were freshmen?
Yeah, it's probably fair. I mean, I think, look, even for Milan, his freshman year, he scored it great in non-league play, not quite as well in league play, but I think that's more attributable to the physicality and the length and size, and now he's a problem solver. So, I think that was something we needed to work through, and I think, the better we move the basketball and the more opportunities he has, the more he's going to get through that as well. And certainly Taman, had a terrific freshman year also. So, look, I think with all three of those guys, man, they're going to keep getting better. They've had some great moments. They've got some great moments ahead. But I'm extremely confident when we look for what they produce from this point forward in the season, that if there is such a thing as a freshman wall, that none of those guys are going to hit it.
Dom Nelson, is he still in the concussion protocol?
He's not. Nope, he practiced today. So yeah, he's good to go.
You talked about Plata in the past and being bullish on his future with you guys. He seemed to really capitalize on his opportunity earlier this week. What did you see from him earlier this week against UCF?
He brought a physicality to the game. He can give us some great screening, some physical on the offensive glass, sealing guys around the basket, and then he's got really good hands and he can score the ball. And I think those points are important. And so if teams switch or teams bring two to the basketball and he can get behind, you have to account for him because he is such a great scorer. So I think, we need him to continue to be aggressive. I keep telling him that, I'm a captive audience to increase his minutes based on his production, and we're going to keep challenging him because we believe in him.
With Blake, how strong the correlation is there between when he's really active on the glass on both ends and your team's success? Because it feels like when he's doing it at a high level, you guys are always, I guess, succeeding.
Yeah, and I think the greatest factor in his offensive rebounding comes down to our ball movement, right? The more we share it, the more the ball goes side to side, the more we get the defense spread out. Blake's a tremendous athlete and has great instincts. And in space, when he can run and jump, he can really make a lot of plays. And if we move the ball and get the defense shifted and open up the paint, then he has clean runs at the glass. And so I felt like last game, one of the biggest plays of the game was the and one offensive rebound, 2.5 minutes into the game that kind of set the tone for everything as far as I see it. So I think for our team, we need to keep him involved offensively. The ball needs to continue to hit his hands. When it does that, it helps shift the ball, shift the defense, move bodies, but it also gives him an energy where he can give us, make those energy plays on the boards for us, which we really need.
With Gamarian, you've applauded his maturity previously. What exact examples of his habits from behind the scenes in practice that makes you think, wow, this is beyond his years?
Yeah, he's a guy that like never has a bad day, and what that means is, he's very steady with his approach. He doesn't get overreactive. He doesn't, he takes tremendous pride in everything that he does. So he's a guy that's oftentimes in our gym earliest and going through a game speed workout, and doing that without, a coach encouraging or, it's just his habit that he's built for himself. I think how he handles adversity and challenge when things don't go his way, he has an innate gift to just bounce back right away. The next possession, doesn't hang on to it. You don't see him hang his head, slouch his shoulders. If you watch his body language, it looks the same no matter what. Like he's always looks the same. And then I think he's, not only is he a competitor, but he's got like this great mental focus and wants to do the right thing. You can feel his energy and enthusiasm wanting to do the right thing for the team. And so, we have all the stories of he comes in early, he stays late. Those are certainly true. But there's guys that do that and don't carry over the way he does. I think it's his intelligence. I think it's his character. I think it's his commitment to his work habits that he doesn't waver. He just stays so consistent that his production will follow.
What did you see in high school out of him that led you to believe he was going to be like this once he got here?
I mean, I think it's more than anything, he's just a winner. Like his teams win. His summer team won. His high school team won. He does winning things. Obviously, his shot-making ability is great. And then his desire defensively, his competitive spirit. And I think if there's anything we've seen in our program, if you said, who are the guys that do, perform the best or have the best experience here, it oftentimes goes to work habits, character, competitiveness. And he has all three of those things at a high level. And so to be able to have him coming in as a freshman and doing what he's doing, you couldn't do those things without those attributes that he presents.
What does it say about a freshman to only hit 1 of 5 from 3, which probably most of us would think is his biggest strength, and still find a way to score 12, play as many minutes as he did?
Well, I think, the 3 he hit, was a huge play because Killian was first to the floor and got that loose ball, and we kind of reversed it around. And so it's a great play by his teammates to get him that shot. I thought the drive and transition and one was a huge energy play. And I think what he's done, because he shoots the ball so well, teams are over closing to him, and that opens up his ability to drive it downhill and finish at the rim. So I just think he had a really good energy level and a spirit to how he played, and the ball just seems to find energy, and then that puts you in position to score. And so those are impactful plays and points, but I think more the lesson for him to keep doing is just play extremely hard, fly around defensively, give multiple efforts, and then things will go your way on the other end.